discuss this theorem. We call it as a sufficient condition for differentiability. So we have a scalar field f. The given thing is partial derivative of f divided by dy by x and divided by dy by y. Both of them exist and continuous at a particular point A. We have to prove that f is differentiable at point A. What is our target? To prove the function is differentiable at a given point A. Let us start with the given information. We have, I will write it first. We have dy by f by dy by x of A and dy by f by dy by y of A exist and continuous. So this is very important information is provided. So partial derivative exists and continuous at point A. What we have to prove? To prove that f is differentiable at A. So this thing we have to prove. So with the help of epsilon delta definition, I am going to prove it. So for that, we need to have some epsilon. Let us take one epsilon first. Let epsilon greater than 0 be given. See, purposefully I am selecting one unit vector. Let u belongs to Rn be an unit vector. See, unit vector means norm of u is equal to 1. A very simple meaning it has. Unit vector means its norm is 1. See, with the help of this u, we are going to take h. Let h is equal to tu, where t is any real number. Getting? So what we have done? Sorry, it's a real number. We have selected u, which is a unit vector. I multiplied u by t. T is a real number and we got h. See, what is our target? Our target is to prove that f is differentiable function. Getting? So when we say function is differentiable, if it has a linear transformation t, we call it as a total derivative. So that t I am going to define initially. Okay. So let t defines from Rn to R be a linear transformation such that, see, I am defining t in this way. T of h, see, I am defining t in this way. h1 dy by f by dy by x of A plus h2 dy by f by dy by y of A. That means with the help of partial derivatives of f with respect to x and with respect to y, I have defined this linear transformation t. Okay. After that, we are going to prove this t is a required linear transformation. That means t is a required total derivative. If we can prove this, then we can declare f is differentiable function. You can make a screenshot of it. After that, we will go further. Please make a screenshot of it. Okay. See, I'm going to consider this part. Our target is to prove that this is less than epsilon. Then we can say the function is differentiable at A. So let us find its value. So this is equal to f of A means you know a1 comma a2 plus h means tu, u means u1 comma u2, right, minus f of A, it is a1 comma a2 minus, you know, h means tu, but t is a constant and t is a capital T is a linear transformation, so small t will come outside. So therefore t of u, getting, divided by norm h, that means norm t. So this is equal to, so if you simplify, that means if you multiply each component by t, if you add component wise, then we will have f of a1 plus tu1 comma a2 plus tu2, right, minus f of a1 comma a2 minus t, capital T, u means u1 comma u2, divided by, see here t is a constant, small t is a constant, so we'll come outside with a mod t norm u. Let us continue. So this is equal to f of a1 plus tu1 comma a2 plus tu2. See, one term I am going to adjust. So that term is minus f of a1 plus tu1 a2 plus f of a1 plus tu1 a2. So I have added and I have subtracted this term. Okay, remaining part is same. Let us write it. Minus f of a1 a2 minus t. Capital T is a linear transformation which we have defined. You remember the definition of capital T? h1 into divided by x plus h2 into divided by y. So same definition I'm going to use for this T of u1 comma u2. So by that definition we will have u1 divided by x a minus t u2 divided by y a. I wrote minus here because there is minus sign outside, so that's why sign change and we got minus there, and I multiply both by this small t. Okay, divided by c mod t. See, u is a unit vector, so that's why norm of u is 1, so that's why I could replace it by 1. I got this one. Okay, make a screenshot of it. There is no more space to write. So let us continue. This is equal to, I will continue with same, f of a1 plus tu1 a2 plus tu2 minus this f of a1 plus tu1 a2, right? Again I'm going to add one small term. Okay, so that term is plus tu2 divided by y a1 plus tu1 a2 minus tu2 divided by y. See, I will subtract here, and I will add here. Okay, a1 plus tu1 a2. After that we will continue. Okay, I will take this term first, minus t u2 divided by y. Okay, see which terms are remaining now. This one, plus I will continue here, plus f of a1 plus tu1 a2 minus f of a1 comma a2, and this term is also remaining, minus tu1 divided by x of a whole divided by mod t. See, let me remove this part, it is not required now. Okay, see what I'm going to do, I am going to divide separately, as well as I am going to take separate mod. You know that when I take separate mod, value will get increased. Okay, so see what I'm going to do. So this is less than or equal to, first I will focus on first three terms. I'm going to divide separately by t, as well as I am going to take separate mod. See what will happen, mod, see this is f of a1 plus tu1 a2 plus tu2 minus f of a1 plus tu1 a2. See, I'm going to divide it by t, minus, if you divide it by t, that t will get cancelled since there is one t, so that t will get cancelled and we will have u2 f of, sorry, divided by y, I supposed to write there, divided by y a1 plus tu1 a2. I have taken separate mod, plus for these two terms I'm going to divide by t, as well as I'm going to take separate mod. So if I divide by t, t will get cancelled since both terms have t, so that t will get cancelled with this t, and we will have, by taking separate mod, u2 divided by y a1 plus tu1 a2 minus u2 divided by y of a, plus for these three terms I'm going to do the same. I'm going to divide separately, as well as I will take a separate mod. So these two terms I can write f of a1 plus tu1 a2 minus f of a1 comma a2. If I divide separately by t, There is t, so tt will get cancelled and we will have minus u1 del f by del x a. Okay, so I have divided most of the terms by t and we have taken separate mod also. We are going to continue. Before that, make a screenshot of it, then we'll go further. So let us continue. What will I do? From first mod, I'm going to take u2 common. Okay, so when it will come outside, it will come with mod. See, there is no u2 to take common, so it should be in denominator. Then if I write u2 outside, so f of a1 plus tu1, a2 plus tu2, right, minus f of a1 plus tu1, a2 divided by tu2. So that u2 we have taken outside, so del by f by del by y, a1 plus tu1, a2. Okay, so first mod is over. Plus, what will happen here? Both terms have u2, so easily we can take u2 common. So mod u2 del by f by del by y, a1 plus tu1, a2 minus del by f by del by y, a means a1 comma a2, plus, let me remove this, it is not required. So let us continue. Okay, so for last term I'm going to take u1 common, but we cannot take u1 common from first term, so we should write in denominator. So mod u1, I should write f of a1 plus tu1, a2 minus f of a1 comma a2, right, divided by tu1 minus del by f by del by x of a. Okay, see, let me remove this step also. So very important inequality we have got, I'm calling it as star. We will use it later. So what is our target? Our target is to prove that first mod should be less than epsilon by something, second mod should be less than something, and third mod should be less than something. So our final target is to prove that entire term should be less than epsilon. Okay, so let us start with the given information now. What we have, I will write del by f by del by x exist at a. Okay, so this is a given information, so let us use it. You are familiar with the definition of partial derivative, so therefore I can write del by f by del by x at a means a1 comma 8 is equal to limit k tends to 0 f of a1 plus k a2 minus f of a1 comma a2 divided by k. See, this is partial derivative with respect to x, so that's why we add k only in first component since it is derivative with respect to x. I'm going to putting k is equal to tu. See what will happen if I put k is equal to tu. So therefore del by f by del by x of a is equal to limit tu1 I will take. So yeah, tu1, k is equal to tu1, no, tends to 0 f of a1 plus tu1 a2 minus f of a1 comma a2 divided by tu1. So the same thing we can write in terms of epsilon and delta also, but there is no more space to write, so make a screenshot of it, then we will go further. So I'm writing in terms of epsilon and delta, right? So yeah, same thing. So therefore for given epsilon, already we have take assume epsilon greater than 0. For given epsilon greater than 0, there exists delta 1 greater than 0 such that mod tu1 less than delta 1 implies mod this one f of a plus tu1 a2 minus f of a1 a2 divided by tu1 minus del by f by del by x of a less than epsilon by 2. So epsilon by 2 is adjustment. I am calling it as statement number 1. It's a very important thing. Okay. So in this case, okay, we have proved that. You remember equation star, 3 mods were there. So here we proved that first mod, this was the first mod, is less than epsilon by 2. After that we have to, third mod is less than epsilon by 2. After that we have to think about remaining 2 mods. So let us think. Okay, let me remove this part, it is not required. So let us use second information, that is del f by del y exist. We have del f by del y exist and continuous at a means a1 comma a2. So therefore it is exist and continuous. So therefore del f by del y a1 plus tu1 a2, this one also exist. So it's exist and continuous. So that's why we could add tu1 in first component and that partial derivative also exists. So therefore let us apply definition. This is partial derivative with respect to y. So therefore del f by del y a1 plus tu1 a2 is equal to limit k tends to 0 f of a1 plus tu1 a2 plus k minus f of a1 plus tu1 a2 divided by k. See this partial derivative with respect to y. So that's why I need to add k in second component. After that, I'm going to putting k is equal to tu2. I'm going to put k is equal to tu2. Then what will happen? So therefore, del f by del y of a1 plus tu1 a2 is equal to limit tu2 tends to 0. Here also I need to put f of a1 plus tu1 a2. K means what? tu2. Okay. Minus f of a1 plus tu1 a2 divided by tu2. Okay. So see, same thing we can write in terms of epsilon and delta also, like this. Okay. So I'm going to write, but there is no more space. So make a screenshot of it. Then we will go further. So let us write this thing in terms of epsilon and delta. For given epsilon, already we have taken, so for above epsilon greater than 0, there exists delta 2. Since delta was already we have taken, such that, what can I write? Mod tu2 less than delta 2 implies mod, so this thing I supposed to write, f of a1 plus tu1 a2 plus tu2 minus f of a1 plus tu1 a2 divided by tu2 minus del f by del y a1 plus tu1 a2, this is less than epsilon by 4. It's adjustment, epsilon by 4. This is statement number 2. This is also very important thing we have got. You remember that statement star? So the first mod, this is nothing but this one. We have proved that the first mod is less than epsilon by 4. A very important thing we have got now. Let us go further. It is not required. Let me remove this part. Okay. So therefore, now we have the one more information, that is del f by del y is continuous at a1 comma a2. So it is continuous at a, that a1 comma a2. So therefore, again by definition of continuity we can write, so therefore for above epsilon greater than 0 there exists, I will say delta 3 now, since delta 2 already we have taken, greater than 0, such that, tell me what will I get by definition of continuity? Mod tu1 less than delta 3 implies mod del f by del y a plus tu1 a2 minus del f by del y a1 a2 less than epsilon by 4. So this is 3. Statement 1, statement 2 and statement 3. All three mods we have proved less than epsilon by something. See, but for statement 1, 2 and 3 we have got three different deltas. Delta 1, delta 2, delta 3. So I am going to take delta is equal to minimum of these all. Then all three statements will be true simultaneously. So therefore let delta is equal to minimum of delta 1, delta 2, delta 3, as well as I'm going to take 1 also. Okay, so then 1, 2 and 3 will work for this delta greater than 0. Okay, so after that I'm going back to statement number star. I will write here the statement number star and we will prove that each of them is less than epsilon. Okay, so see, before that you can make a screenshot of it, then we will go further. See, I am considering here norm h less than delta. Since you know in definition of differentiability, we always consider first norm h less than delta. So let us continue. So implies h means what? Tu less than delta. T, u means you know that u1 comma u2. So it is less than delta. Implies I will multiply tu1 tu2 less than delta. So you know well how to find value of norm, square root of first plus square of second. Let us do. So this is square root of t square u1 square plus t square u2 square less than delta. So you know our next step, to remove square root I will take square of both sides. So therefore t square u1 square plus t square u2 square less than delta square. So sum of these two non-negative numbers is less than delta square. That means each of them should be less than delta square. So therefore t square u1 square less than delta square and t square u2 square less than delta square. So to remove squares, I am going to take square root of both sides, just positive square root. So therefore mod tu1 less than delta and mod tu2 less than delta. Very important thing, you remember statement 1, 2 and 3, this is a basic condition getting, and we have got it for delta, and you know that 1, 2, 3 both all of them simultaneously true for delta. Okay, so that's my basic condition is satisfied. So now I'm going to consider from star. Make a screenshot of it, then we will go further. See, from star we can write this. In star already we have proved all these things. Okay, simply I wrote here again. So see, this is less than mod u2. We have proved from equation statement 1, 2 and 3. This one is less than epsilon by 4 plus mod 2. Second mod is less than epsilon by 4 plus mod u1, and the third mod is less than epsilon by 2. So from 1, 2 and 3. So already we have proved each of them is less than epsilon by something. See, these two terms are same. So if you add, you will have 2 into. So therefore I can write mod u2 epsilon by 2 plus, if you add these two, and the last one is mod u1 epsilon by 2. But see, mod u1 and mod u2 both are less than or equal to norm u. So therefore we have some space, so let us utilize it. So this is less than or equal to norm u epsilon by 2 plus norm u epsilon by 2. Getting? So see, what can we write? So yeah, so epsilon by 2 plus epsilon by 2. So that means we will have here norm u epsilon, but you know that u is a unit vector, so that's why this is equal to epsilon. So finally we proved that this one is less than epsilon. So that's why what can we declare? F is differentiable at A. There is no more space, so make a screenshot of it, then we will go further. So using epsilon delta definition, we proved that the function is differentiable at A. since norm h less than delta implies we proved mod f of a plus h minus f of a minus t of h divided by norm h is less than epsilon. So therefore we can declare f is differentiable at a, and what will be its total derivative? That is nothing but that linear transformation. Still you remember the definition of linear transformation which we had assumed at initially. So it is h1 del by f by del by x of a plus h2 del by f by del by y of a. So in this way we proved this theorem. You can make a screenshot of it and then we will stop. Thank you. Bye bye.